doesn't it? And now we get into game, and now I'm just sad that in-game doesn't look as good as the cutscene to take us in.
I think you can mess with it, right? Like it's the same thing with the Starlight events and stuff like that. They add a little bit more stuff. I guess it's more sponsor stuff, but I think you can mess with it a little bit, even on a viewer standpoint. It doesn't even have to, mess with the players. But as we pointed out, Furia does start on that CT side on Overpass. It's csgo with a kit and a flashbang. Armor on the other 4 members, and then for VP side, it's two smokes, a molly, and a flash on Jamie and Sanji, looking for a long execute.
Yeah, I love that cool. VP have avoided this stacking con very well. If it was B, Furia were going to full push con and flank up the ladder. That's where they were, but they doubled back when they realized this must have been in mid or an A long take. So they're playing retake. VP, very weird to see a 10-player alive post-con on Overpass, but here we are, and trades coming through very quick. Jame with 1, traded, and Sanji's got some great movement here, moved in behind CT. They don't know. The bomb is planted for him as well, so now they're realizing, now the penny drops, like, okay, they can't be toilets. Surely they're CT. It's a stick on the bomb. Sanji denies it just with a second remaining, and now the player from the toilets can move up, dead in the water. Vinny with the tap. Now he's sticking it again, playing with fire, and he's off the bomb. Sanji's forced him into the fight, and he's won the round from it. VP take the pistol.
The hitbox, man, were you planning or defusing and shit? Like, that's... I can't believe. I mean, csgo, he gets it at the end there, but that was looking very scary that he wouldn't get the kill. But yeah, I agree. It's also a really nice fist around. Like, we see that again and again, like, a lot of teams opting for like a mid presence or like even connector of like, hitting the B bomb side. And I think A long is the one spot that if no one sees you cross there, like it's actually a really good spot to be in for late round when you actually push the bomb side.
Yeah.
No, and something else that was scary there, right, is even though like Sanji is a real hero in that round because the whole round was kind of based around him. Like Kicker in his position was pretty useless in terms of actually helping out in any way, right? The bomb wasn't planted for him. He wouldn't have got there in time. Say Sanji had died and only got 1, he wouldn't have actually got to the site in time to stop the defuse. So Sanji had that entire round on his shoulders, and that was how VP set it up. He does a great job of holding his own. And now we get into this round where it's kind of, like a bit of a force, bit of the investment coming through for Furia, bringing that heat right away, looking to maintain, I don't want to say maintain, pick back up some of that momentum that they had towards the end of Inferno. Ooh. And right now it's looking good. This Famas is popping off. Vinny with the double kill, making the Famas look good.
Yeah, and that's rare. I've never said the sentence hero Famas, but here we are. 1 rifle surrounded by Deegs, and it finds 2 kills. Art joins the tally as well, and VP blink and you miss it. This round, while still winnable, is sort of out of your control. Even if you play the best you possibly can, you're hoping a lot goes right. And, well, not a lot is going right.
No, not where you want it to be if you're VP after that pistol round. Full force back, and only really Vinny. To your point, yeah, I don't think I've heard that ever being said either. Star Famas. That's something new. I don't know. I think it gets a lot of hate. I don't think it's. I don't think it's a very good gun, but I also don't think it's as terrible as people make it out to be. Same thing really with the Galil, right? In all fairness, it's like what 2.1k for really a M4 on the T side.
Galil's 450 less than the Famas though, so I'd say like Galil definitely can. You can't give the Galil flack because it is so cheap.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It still kind of blows my mind that like with the kind of price buffs that both of the guns got, that the Galil definitely sees a lot more usage now than it ever did, right? Like when it was only a little cheaper than the AK, you never really saw the reason to try and pick it up. But now it's actually a very pliable rifle to have early on, like a kind of low-risk investment for things like anti-eco rounds, right? It gives you the range, it doesn't break the bank account, it's cheaper than like, something like a P90, which we see guys like Furia pick up.
If someone kills you and take it.
Yeah, it's a Galil, right? Galil. So, yeah, right. And so then it's not like handing over an AK in an anti-eco round where suddenly you can get one tapped and things can get out of hand. They're still having to two-shot you. It's kind of like giving over over a bit like a worse M4 almost to the opposition. So I do think the Galil's in a really good place. The Famous, I don't know what has to change for people to stop mocking it.
Burst good again.
I would love burst fire to be good. I really, really would. Really on any of the guns.
Because the problem that I think that weapon has is when you don't have a lot of money on CT side, you tend to go close quarters. You tend to want to, be in their face with a shotgun or SMG, and if you don't, you tend to buy a scout. So like when you don't have an M4, there's really not a weapon that you can kind of talk about like the Galil, right? When you say like, oh, instead of an M4, I can't afford an AK, I need a long distance weapon. A Galil would be a good alternative. But I think because of the burst is like in such poor state, and because it doesn't one kill, like very much the same with M4, I think people just opt for like the, I guess, cheaper weapons. It gives you more of a bonus.
Well, while we're on that topic, do you think like an additional gun added to the game like would be a good thing right now? Because I'm all for things staying fresh and adding little things every now and then. Like there was talk at one point of another gun being added because they found game files or whatever, but it never came through. Do you think that there would be a market for like a semi-shot weapon on the CT side, or either side really, just to kind of freshen things up right now?
I mean, technically you can make the FAMAS stronger, right, than just make it burst only, for example, like as one of those things. Because I do agree with the changes they made for the economy with T's getting so much, they get the bomb down and they have a better buy second round than CTs do. Like they have to figure that out. And I think even if they don't figure it out on the economy state, like they have to figure out like how do we get to a point for CTs where they're not just buying SMGs and the fourth round is always like a bonus round because they don't want to upgrade because it's too much money. I will say though, like the change that they made, like a few years ago when we only saw M4s and AKs, like it was a little bit stale. Like I do like the additions of a little bit more SMGs. It does add for some more speed for the game. Like we don't just see the old Navi running down the clock with AKs and just playing for it. Like there's a little bit more I think you can do with the game with the current numbers.
Yeah, the idea was like the Valve voice that they wanted to make every gun viable, which is like almost a bit of a joke, right? When you look at certain guns like the Negev, I think is a great example, especially with, that's technically still in its testing phase where they made it $1,600. Like, yeah, we're just gonna do this for a bit. 5 years later, still.
But
I
with the AUGs. They do it on purpose because I think that what they know is that the gun is overpowered, right? And they know that people haven't figured them out yet, so they just left them as they are because people don't use them anyway. Because the AUG and this SG didn't change much. People just didn't use them because it was like the old school mentality, right? Of
that was even the same for. Sorry, that was even the same for SMGs. Like you actually, I guess you just kind of made this point, right? When people would just use M4s and AKs, but like when we hit the SMG era of CS, they got changed 6 months prior to the point that people realized, oh my god, these are sick. Like, let's stop buying UMPs, let's stop buying MP9s and play them into gun rounds and play them into bonus rounds.
And I think to your point here as well, Hugo, when you said like, oh, Valve said that they want all the guns to be viable. I think, sure, it's going to be very difficult to make every single gun viable. But if you look at the current landscape of like, what people buy and stuff like that, the pistols are viable depending on what you want to do, right? P250, very cheap. Let's just buy a pistol for the fuck of it. Tech 9 is like, oh, I want to buy that because I want to run a gun. We're going to do aggressive, CSAT. I think they all have their own purposes now, and I kind of like that. Same with shotguns, right? We see it maybe more so nuke, but I do think that based on the maps that they've added and stuff like that, they've made it so that more weapons are at least viable, which is a good start. I'm not looking forward to the Para era though, man. Like the Negev era and stuff like that. When people start figuring that out.
Oh, dude, I am a firm believer that if they lowered the price of the M249 by a bit, I think it would actually be used. I think it's because it handles very, very similar to how like an M4 does, just with more bullets, right? And so I think it could actually be something that could get like adapted to be one of these. Like anchor weapons, like you could play it like towards monster, and it might be a really good gun to stop rushes or something like that. Problem is it's so much money that you never actually want to sink that into the game, right?
I think that's the Negev argument though, because like for example,
that's
like
true.
Banana, right? Like when you have smokes, like you could probably Valve's vision there is like, oh, the smoke is down, let's just throw 100.
Yeah, just Negev through it, right? Yeah.
Or when they push to execute that you're in CT spawn, you want to throw it, shoot through it. There's same thing there. Like there's still a lot of damage that could be made. I think the problem is that because of movement speed, once that damage is no longer available, how do you retake bomb sites? It's even more difficult than with an AUG.
And on top of that as well, as good as the Negev is, once you've hit that point of like laser beam, the first 5 to 10 shots are awful. Like, they're not accurate. They're nowhere near where you're aiming. So yeah, for sure, there maybe is functional use for it. But if you get peaked and you have a Negev, you're dead, unless you're already shooting before he comes around the corner. So that's always going to be the reason you never see it really in like pro play. But yeah, I agree. There's definitely like, you could definitely craft around the Negev in a certain position on a map. So yeah, I'm surprised we haven't got to that point, considering how cheap it is.
I think it was banned initially as well on the pro scene. It might still be banned actually, for all I know.
Said that the other day.
Yeah, it never got unbanned, but I think
Fnatic used it.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone just because at first there was this whole idea of like, oh yeah, the gun's going to change. Like, we're actively developing it. So early on, it was like, oh, it's really, really cheap now. They're going to make changes. It's not in like its final form, so let's ban it. But now, as it's been the same for years and it's still in that testing phase, I think everyone just kind of realized that actually this is how it is, and it's not as good as everyone was worried it was going to be. Because there was that big worry early on where, like, you know, you saw like pros playing in things like FPL or Rank S, and everyone was buying Negevs when the change first happened, like as early as they could, and everyone was going, God, is this what Pro CS is going to be like now? And then everyone kind of learned very, very quickly that actually it's not as overpowered as what you think it is.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I was confused by that, Harry, as well, because I said it in a cast like, oh, this gun's banned, and because they never unbanned it. I never read anywhere that they unbanned it, but flusha used it.
It's hardly breaking news, though, is it? Right? It's like, yeah, we've unbanned the Negev, guys.
flusha used it last year in an official on Vertigo. Like, I think maybe he misbought it, but he used it, and he got like 3 kills with it. So
it's like the same thing.
Hey.
So we always have gentlemen's agreements. It's the same thing with the models, right? Like, TOs haven't banned models, but what you do before the game is you ask the opponent teams models or no. And most of the times the tier 1 teams will say no, and then you just opt for no. That's why in tier 2 CS and stuff like that, you still see models and stuff. It happens on occasion, but it's always like you always ask the opponent teams, and we kind of, you know, come to a compromise of like, do we want to use it or not? That same can't be said about Negevs. Maybe that was in the beginning of like, do we use it or not? But I think to your point, I think now that, you know, people have, you know, gone away from it a little bit, I do think that you can, I'm sure you can find a use case for it every now and then. It probably shouldn't be banned. We've been talking about Negevs and stuff like that. We also talked about, you know, winning conditions for Furia coming into this map, and I said, you know, they need to have a strong CT side. It's been, you know, their main point of struggle these past 2 days, and they're 5-1 up so far. They've been pretty consistent with that. It's a great start, really what we'd like to see. Really the start that I feel like Furia needed as well.
Yeah, the double AWP is running as well, which is a nice sign, right? Once you get that money on CT Overpass, you really can wreak havoc, right? The deep mid-molly for Art, just trying to keep VP out of any real estate, or a bare minimum, forcing them to use a smoke out of spawn. Buster will do so. VP put pressure on B with smokes on the mollies, but no one actually pushes through the tunnel. They're going to go for a monster play. Contact at that. Vinny's keeping his eyes on the prize from the barrel, and VP, here they go, exploding into B.
Oh, Vinny might get caught with nades out. No one's checked him for the time being. He's dropped that smoke to keep himself alive, but they can't find Vinny. They can't find him. He's still there. He's still hidden. Vinny, the smoke king, he's hidden from it, and now out of the smoke and into the fire. It's jaCkz to get rid of him. Man, advantage up for VP. Bomb plant looking to come in. Yuri at least brings it back into a 4-on-4 and gets them set up for a retake. But they are going to be hard-pressed to get back into this one. They don't have a lot of utility to actually open engagements up, but they do have smokes to cut off angles at the very, very least. And Honda going unaccounted for on the boost. There's Kicker finally picking up the trade alongside jaCkz. And just like that, VP have taken it back in under their wing and forced the save out of Furia. They're just having a run for the hills. So we actually get to see a VP second round here and now. csgo wants that AWP. The bomb explosion is going to blow it to him, so I think that's what he's waiting for.
Yeah, that's a weird round in my book. I think VP does a really good job there. Vinny staying alive as long as he did is fantastic. Like, it's really what's expected of him. Normally what you see there, though, when he stays alive for that long is CTs tend to come to help. You know, you throw a bunch of flashbangs and you lay down some coverage there, and you drop down in water and you kind of help him with the crossfire. But that didn't happen. He was by his lonesome for a very long time. And then the retake happened, bomb down, VP ends up holding it. So good round by VP. Might be again with, you know, the comms on the Furia end. A little bit sloppy retake, I'd say.
VP did trap players in graffiti with a Molotov as well while they were, you know, trying to get Vinny off for the smoke and barrels. He did get flashed out for a fight, but VP just hid behind the smoke and the pillar, and, you know, he misses his spray and they just trade him. So
Yeah, and you see there as well, like technically, because the argument can be made of like, yeah, it's unfortunate that Furia had so many members go from lower there, because even if they smoke off upper, the one flash and you drop down in water, because you see how much time all the VP members are spending. Like there's 3 guys shooting at Vinny, so like there's a lot of map control really that they're forgetting about just by Vinny staying alive. So there's definitely gaps that Furia can kind of, you know, get a sense for a gap of a potential retake even early before the bomb goes down. Tech issues being called. We'll see. Hopefully it's going to be resolved soon. That was VP's second round on the board though, but we look at the money for Furia.
This orb's still going to be in play, at least one of them. There's not a double. There was the money for it. So Ard's going to be taking that for now.
I think on a map like Overpass, because it's such a long map, like rotates are, unless you're in CT spawn on the A bomb side, they are very long. So I think VP's approach here of putting a lot of emphasis on B early, of ensuring that, you know, Furia sends 2-3 guys there in the beginning of the round to kind of open up the map a little bit more, maybe in the later stages of this half. Because we see the same tendency from Furia. We see how far up Art is, right? He has full control of all of mid. Sure, Furia VP can come from underpass, but they're still opting for this B play. It's going to be a fast one. One expo flash in. jaCkz gets 2. Vinny does get the 1 trade, but that's about it. VP has full control of the bomb site. Absolutely, yeah, this is a great round. The 1 flashbang, a little bit. It's still a very fast round, but they pace themselves just a little bit, getting positions, and the 1 expo flash in. And then everyone will just surround the bomb site. It's a very quick round, leaving Furia in a 2-on-4 of a potential B retake. It's not going to happen though. As I pointed out, Art4's already all the way up in mid. So when we talk about rotates and stuff like that, like I said, unless you're already in CT spawn by the bomb sites, the rotates are very, very long on this map.
Yeah, great double entry for jaCkz. What do you make of jaCkz, right? Another young like player to this level of play, young Latvian talent.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think I love the fact that we have more, you know, regions in general, because the same could have been said for Serbia a few years ago. You know, sure. there's definitely a space in all countries, I'd argue, right? But you know, I think just giving people the opportunity to, you know, develop. Same thing with the Norwegian scene. We haven't really seen, like, they used to be very active in 1.6 and Source, but that's, you know, that scene has been relatively dead. And I think giving one player, even if it's just jaCkz, that opportunity of like competing with the best, I think it really helps the region itself. In like growing and, you know, seeing as well of like, hey man, if jaCkz can make it, like, so can I. But I just love the fact that, you know, giving these like young development players a little bit more, you know, of a playing field, especially now with the pandemic going on and stuff like that. I think it's like a perfect opportunity for it.
Yeah, it's actually surprising how much talent we've got out of Latvia, though, in not only jaCkz but Brokey as well, and many more players. So that's always a good feeling.
I mean, I went back. Absolutely, I went back because you can make the argument here, like, give it 1 or 2 more years. Look at Serbia, right? Like, you can make a team there almost now with, you know, Nico Hunter. You have csgo as the coach. Like, you can actually make a pretty competitive team. Same could be said with the jaCkz and, you know, the Brokies and stuff like that. You know, they're getting to a point where the region are at least producing maybe 5 top-tier players.
Yeah, and we're at the point where G2 are turning into like a Serbian-Bosnian mix at this point. We're pretty close. So, no longer French. Right now, VP, they're up at the bomb site. Art pushed long with the orb earlier to find a pick. That's a dirty shot through the smoke from csgo. And Art is still here. Remember, he was long. He's rerouted to toilet. Looks away, and jaCkz comes through the mid. So bad timing for Art on that turn, but still a winnable round for Furia, who have regained control of the site. They lost it for a second, but that rotate from csgo has, well, boarded the windows, and Furia are on full alert. 2 players on top, 1 down below, and VP creeping towards the bomb site. Is jaCkz going to be loud and proud, or is he going to come in on the backstab here? He's walking through Monster as jaCkz takes the bomb A.
Oh, well, that's a bit of a disaster.
Loud.
Yeah.
How much rotate, though?
Oh, he's got them all down. All right, jaCkz has done it being loud.
Get out.
And so now jaCkz gets the bomb. Now they realize, right, they start to rotate up. They go, oh crap, it's jaCkz. He's got the bomb planted. And now he's been given a bit of a chance, but he's gone. And so for jaCkz, the bomb is planted for him. Well, he's got the AWP at least. Now we can try to deny that defuse. And oh dear, he's went on a scavenger hunt and he's come up almost winning. It will be the defuse stuck by Furia, and they're on to 6. And yeah, no, just in relation to what you guys were saying about how, like, you know, there's like this kind of You know, in a lot of these countries, there's all this developing talent. It feels like a lot of that as well has come from something we were talking about earlier, which is like the increase in popularity of like international teams and all that, right? Because it's like before, if you think back like to when international teams were really just starting to take off, where you had things like Kingwin and people were kind of adamant that maybe it wasn't going to work or it wasn't going to be as good as like a fully like national team where everyone's speaking in the same language and they all have the same like customs. I think that now, because everything is international, well, not everything, but there's so many more top international squads, it just makes sense to try and learn to play in them, right? You don't need to have 4 other players who are just as good as you are anymore. You can just speak in English and then go and join one of these squads that already exists, where they already have 4 sick guys and they just need 1 more, right? I think that is really cool. I think that's why you see so many like new players now rising up, especially within Europe, right?
I think FPL has helped that tremendously as well, because you see the same. I think CS has always been that one game where you haven't had international rosters because the communication aspect of the game is like so important. But I think, you know, in favor of FPL and very much the progression we see here, more and more teams are doing international lineups. I mean, this is really much the new norm, right? No, super exciting stuff.
VP out B again. They come through the monster with a flash. There's still short control up for Furia, so that's something a VP need to be aware of when they try and stick the bomb plant. If they go for a default plant, James needs to have this cover on lock. It's a missed shot, and that's going to cause problems. But Sanji redeems them with a quick couple of kills. Vinny falling after 1. The bomb plant for Heaven, which is smoked, and the only player in Spawn, which is Yuri, is not there in time to stop it. Honda considering getting out of here alive. That's a shame. He's been here all round. He called this B play very far ahead of time. He spotted VP setting up Monster on a jiggle. So yeah, Furia were ready for a B play, but Sanji with a couple of nice entries and a bomb plant has sent Furia out with nothing. It's a shame. But it's VP building into this T side. A lot of B rounds working wonders for them.
Yeah, it's really been their win condition so far. Sure, Jamie getting the bomb down on A last round, but like B has definitely been the spot that they've opted to go back to. And this is a late round take as well. It just really comes to show up, you know, like the favoritism of VP showing on that bomb side so far. And Furia, you make the argument their B1 positioning on nuke wasn't very good, and B side on an overpass is also a very difficult area to hold on the CD side. So you really need to have your shit together. Otherwise, it's not going to be very fun. But I love it. We talk about the whole thing of change of pace and stuff like that. I do think that VP is getting to a point here for Furia of, you know, like Furia should be always terrified of B. And I think with that, you know, when we look at the setups, look at how Furia starts their rounds. They start 3B, and for the same purpose, right? And really what you're expecting here on VP side is, you know, later on, you could get to a point where you just swap over to A. It's another quick round to B, though. Really hammering on here with the fact of that they've been pretty weak on it, but it's a nice hold so far. They are hitting the bomb site though. We do have 3 Furia members here trying to defend. Nice flashbang though from Sanji.
Oh, the deagle in the pit. Body damage is going to be great here with players tagged up. jaCkz was shot from death. Yuri, and he kill him off the plant. He knows he's right below him. He's not looking. He's not shooting. How does jaCkz live there? Yuri knew he was there. He had to. Art saving the day, csgo with a second Deeg shot, and Buster, who's a shot from death in a 1v2. There's still a chance he can try and isolate fights, but Art's wrapped deep. csgo gets tagged, smoke is good, and that's going to further complicate things. Buster's got to really rely on some luck here, as he is going to shoot through the smoke. Eventually, they tap it again, now it's a stick, they've got a kit, he's going to spray, and 99,
1 HP.
But not enough.
Good hole from Furia there. Again, it comes back. We're just trying to stay alive and waiting for your teammates to come and help you out. And you saw, look at the difference from Furia this round and the other round that I was talking about with Vinny staying alive. You see that Furia is actually much more pleasantly there to kind of help out. And short positioning wise, they were a little bit better spot than having one guy in water. But they were ready to fight a little bit more there, and a little bit more aggressive at that. And chaos ensued, but 2v2 ends up being in Furia's favor. Makes it 7-2. Bomb still went down though from VP, and we see the buy from Kicker. He does this on purpose. It's another B rush. Oh my god, they don't care.
What a shock.
Ooh.
Never seen it before.
Yeah, right through the utility. However, this time, right, he's done a lot more damage. And also, look at Art in the meantime. He's got all this information that, yeah, they can't be out through mid. The only place they can head is connector, and he's looking to get that under wraps as well. Now, he's got to be careful to not give this kill away.
James saw him.
He must have seen the barrel, right? And he looks so aware now. He looks so ready. He's trying to catch Art, falling back, but you're not going to catch him today. And I really love that from Art. You know, we always talk about Art's aggression, but this is a situation where Art went aggressive, and then he realized that actually the best plan of action here is for me to stop, right? We're in this 4-on-3. He's got all that control in mid. He had all the info when they needed it. And now that things have gone quiet down towards that B site, he falls back, he sets himself up over towards A, and he can do a lot more from this position, right? He's no longer going to push and feed and give away a kill, open up a 3-on-3 where suddenly, you know, you don't have the information, you've given up that man advantage. Now he's able to play off of his teammates back in the site, and that was just a great show of restraint, honestly, from a player that we know to be very aggressive in these situations.
But he's still not far from the fight, patrolling in the toilets. They might come through on Divider. Oh, tightens everything. There's the shot as they come up the stairwell. Smoke dropped. Art is playing the timing very well. 20 seconds. He knows that they are running out of the clock, and he might even push through this, because why not? There's no way. The no scope for Art. Insult.
I mean, he didn't push through it. I was worried there for a second. I was just like, no way, Art. Come on, man. Like, you're in a good spot. He was just working the smoke a little bit.
Yeah, it goes
Nonetheless,
in, goes
very
out.
nice.
In, out, shake it all about. And yeah, that's very annoying. Very annoying. How do you deal with that? You don't. 8 rounds to Furia.
By far the best CD side we've seen from them at this event. VP really been just hammering the B-bomb side, and sure, we talk about the change of pace again, right? I want to see VP trying to opt a little bit more. Sure, they did it last round with Art there, but we talk about them putting a lot of pressure on B early. You could do the same thing on A, especially knowing as well the VP tends to, or Furia starts 3 towards B. So the only really one that we know that has been fighting up in mid has obviously been Art. And we kind of see that. You see that you get mid for free here if you're VP. Sure, this is really where the round starts to see where we want to end up. We know that VP doesn't have a lot of smokes and utility. They have 2 smokes left, 1 Molotov and just 1 flashbang and CeRq. So I am expecting this round to go fairly quickly when they actually do end up pulling the trigger.
The re-aggro at long, though. Dear. Buster moves into the toilet.
The timing.
Avoid this. Is this misinfo? Is this a problem for Furia, or do they keep going and actually flank this play? It's going B right now. So if anything, I say misinfo, it's very quickly turned into very valuable information, because this is a B play after all. And Yuri just tucks it long as the triple stack sees the AWP B. It's good info. James going to have to flash jaCkz in, who's taking the mantle right out monster right now. Player on the pillar, and another one close to barrel, gives away his position. Hunter spams him, and Vinny provides cover. He even follows up onto the AWP as well, and Vinny is decimating them in the B-bomb site, looking for a 4-piece. Buster's just trying to get the AWP out the map, and Yuri might have this one dead to rights. He certainly doesn't, but it still shouldn't be a winnable round for VP here. 1-on-4.
Yeah, I mean, this is super smart. We can see the same tendency of like VP taking over mid in the beginning, and they all fall back to B, of, you know, showing to Furia that, hey, we have all of A control. To your point here about information play, with Furia going aggressive to A long the way they did, like timing obviously was in their favor, but there's just so much being gained here. Like normally you do see when you have teams taking over A and they go B, you tend to leave a guy in mid, right, to just showcase, hey, we're still here. VP didn't do that, and for Furia then, you know, they didn't have much nades left, so you make the argument of them having this information of VP coming towards B, like really saved them here for this round. Trying to hold off the B bomb stuff without any utility out of that flashbang is going to be very difficult. So nicely done by Furia. Nice aggression play, getting the map control. It's a 9-4 scoreline here now, and VP on a half buy with pistols. Already dropped 2 members here this round as well. Looking like it's going to be 10 rounds on the board for Furia. But caster curses are real, so...
Probably not here. Surely not here.
I don't know, man. You think that, and then it happens, and then you go, oh, well, then
the 2 like 1-digs hitting the bomb side, get the bomb down,
yeah,
which is all right.
That's all happen, right? Double. Oh, no! Oh, no!
Stop! It's under control. It's fine. Oh, no!
All right, we're good. We're good.
Okay, yeah, Yuri's bailed us out. No danger now, right?
I don't know why y'all pretended this was even a problem.
Listen, it starts with the 1 shot, man. It starts with the 1-dig.
Ooh.
Come on.
50 seconds. Has a bit of time, but yeah.
Now I'm over it. You know, that was definitely a Furia win. But before, you know, you start with the 1 shot.
Sure. Furia have been very mobile though. Their rotates have been good. They've not been like feeding on con rotates, right? B players coming up early and providing a pathway down into lower. Just
and by the way,
patient.
Hugo, you say that, but what happened last map on Inferno with Sanji, right? He won a 1v4, and I think Furia ran around there a little bit too much, right?
Which
So never say never.
Yeah, I guess. It's 20 health with a deagle though. It's 15 seconds.
Sanji had 20 health too. He was headshotted, remember? Yeah, look at that.
Well,
never say
it's
never.
good you believe, Robin, but not all of us. Can,
I'm just
be
saying,
in
you know,
that same boat.
We gotta keep the hopes up. You know, the dream's alive.
No, I like that, right? Yeah. Robin's just here, like, hardcore repping any clutch that's happening.
Like,
Like,
I take the golden route.
Yeah,
clutches.
gets
You
one
get
and traded.
and then you get traded. That's just what happens. Okay?
You know, it gets much more exciting if you actually think about, like, how does it win this, right? It's a ultimate butt clencher moment.
Yeah.
Every single clutch, even if it's a 1v3.
jaCkz has 2 kills right now. That's not great, and not what we saw from him last map either. He was very influential, he was winning clutches, he was finding opening picks on the T side as well. So yeah, this is a definite change from him.
I think one of the problems James had is you think about how Furia have been approaching, especially this like mid area, but even B as well. Their B holds have been very, very passive. Like they're never peaking monsters, so that's never an angle you've got if you're James. And then with mid, it's just been changing all the time for Furia. I'll revisit this in a bit because this B crunch has come in. And they just tried to run the gauntlet right away, haven't they? But it's not gone well for VP. They're a man down, and this B play, this B rush is looking a little sad now. It's kind of had all the momentum sucked out of it. They do have one player deep in the site, but no one else is really here to help him. Second man comes in, and with it, the bomb is dropped. That's Honda doubling down. Sanji with the response has put this back into a doable situation for VP. But csgo still waiting, ever so patient over here, has support from Art in Heaven. And this kind of like double setup at 2 different angles is very, very tricky to deal with if you're VP. James, as we mentioned, having a quiet game right now. If there ever was a time for him to step up, it would be in this 1v2, but a couple of missed shots, and that's the only chance you get. 11-4 in favor of Furia. Now moving into their T side here on Overpass as they look to take us to a third. Find out if they can after the break.
And we are back. Second half, map number 2, Furia versus VP. VP won first map, Inferno. This has been a very good showing from Furia so far on that CT side on Overpass. Probably the best CT side we've seen from him so far this event. We can see if they can actually translate that and having a good T side here. This is VP's map pick, we have to remember, and that T side, a lot of emphasis on the B bomb side. We'll see, I was expecting a little bit more from them, but nonetheless, nice to see Furia showing up here.
Oh. Yeah, Buster almost doubles as he's blinded. They come through the connector. It is going to end B here. Furia just splitting it slowly. Art's running monster now with the bomb, and they are just going right in. jaCkz with some taps. He's got the info. Art, as the smoke blooms, is picked through it, and Sanji somehow dead in the middle of nowhere to trade onto csgo, and well, at least we have all the CTs here, keeping the Ts trapped in the pit. Are they really going to reset here? Now, is this realistic? Spawn to A long, or are they going to try and fake it?
I mean, Yuri's still sticking around here with the bomb. This is no way. It would be different if it was like the other way around, of like it's Vinny that has the bomb, and you know Yuri stayed, you know, and just taking fights. The fact that he gets the one here now all of a sudden, this could go either way. 2v2 now. VP lost complete track of where Furia is, so they're kind of forced to fall back, take more defensive positions. With them just having 2 guys alive, they've opted to do a 1-1 split. One on the A bomb site, one on the B bomb site, and here we go, looking to be an A execute here from Furia.
Oh my.
Yeah, and now I think it's pretty difficult spot to be in here if you're Furia. Could have worked out. It's a nice headshot there from...
Yeah, I feel like before Yuri gets spotted on B on short, I feel like with Vinny rapping and Yuri staying short, maybe the idea was to fake exactly that play, right? Like Vinny running top and showing presence on A and hoping the VP over-rotate because B's so quiet, and then the bomb goes into B. Maybe that was the idea, but obviously Yuri gets pushed and has to take the kill while he's got it. Bomb gets seen, so he does group with Vinny.
Yeah.
Wonder that round could have been.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Nonetheless, VP round on the board. good start for the potential comeback. And Furia, no bomb plan, so opting for a full save here. Probably won't be seeing, I say full save, but obviously again, we have to remember that Art doesn't save. Does have a scout, P250 on Vinny, but that's about it.
Oh, James with some hopefully confidence boosting kills. You hope that now that he's on the CT side, he could have a bit of a better time of it as well, right? Like, as I was saying in that first half, he was having a very, very rough time actually being able to find anything with the AWP, you know. If he was going over towards the B site, no one would ever challenge Monster, so that was like a pointless place to put him. And in terms of how Furia were playing A, whenever they were aggressive, it would be Art running down long, but that was never something that VP actually really caught him in the act of doing. And outside of that, you know, we didn't really see too many of these mid challenges that you often get between the AWPs. So I'm hoping that now with CT side open as a potential for him, we can see him, you know, pick and choose where he's going to take these engagements. You know, is he going to go fight mid? Is he just going to play back within the sites and, you know, be this kind of reactive AWPer that rotates around the map? Hopefully it just leads to him rising up through the scoreboard, because he gave us a great game back on Inferno, but he has been quiet here on Overpass.
Master ready to make moves, but Furia are so patient. They're barely getting out of the T ramp now. If he did commit there, they probably would have had him dead. Instead, it's a quick peek, clears it in his head, calls it, and rotates out. Still VP are 3 on A right now. They're going to start to adjust. 2 coming down CT, 1 going down con. They're in caps surrounding B right now, and that is the right call. Furia just left mid as Buster peaked. Yuri with another. We're back into a 4-on-4. Still a B crunch the VP seem more than ready for. Everyone is here right now.
No nades left though, just a flash and an HE on Buster, so it makes sense that they want to go for a bit of a gamble stack here. Still very difficult bomb site to hold, but the setups here from VP is actually fantastic. We'll see if csgo would actually clear this. He does! Oh my god, Yuri.
Oh. James getting out of there, good call off the flash, but he can't escape. Yuri takes him down, and jaCkz watching short. They don't have a smoke for it, like you said. jaCkz could wrap them here. If he hits a good timing, they've all gone the other way around. He's alone, but he's got them behind. He's got a spray. Thinks they're monster. They're both on the site. He's seen them now. Bomb dropped. FAMAS, VAK.
Oh my god.
Wins it all.
Man, what a bait as well. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's really working the map a little bit, right? Like humping the pillar, wrapping around. It was in a bad spot as well from VP there. Like I pointed out, there's no nades here, so hero plays are in order. The fact that he doesn't even know where all of them are.
Yeah.
Fantastic round from him. This is coming off of a Yuri 3K as well, of getting the bomb site. So very nicely done. Comeback is real.
Maybe. Furia are going to be kicking themselves after that one. That could have just been the first gun round straight under their wing, but he's had enough, and a hero AK straight into the B bomb site is his prerogative. He's the only man here. No trade potential, and now the gun is lost in no man's land. So free AK for VP, and the kills are going to come even easier now.
See, that's one of those moments where you see like Art's willingness to get stuck in sometimes can come back to hurt Furia, right? Because as you mentioned, that AK now is irretrievable. You know, a lot of teams, if they are playing hero AK but they have armored players around it, they normally keep the AK in with the pack but have him leading the way, you know. So then even if the AK falls, it's still put to good use on somebody else. Bit of a shame to see that big investment dropped and now out of the round. And jaCkz giving us another great hold here inside of the A site. He's just lighting them up, isn't he? And with support there in the form of James on the AWP, they're able to get the round locked in nice and cleanly. 8-11, and VP starting to grind their way back into this game. It was never going to be easy, but now they're well and truly on the right path.
Do you see a very good buy here now this round coming in from Furia? See if they've figured this out. But yeah, this is a fantastic start from VP so far. Was a little bit worried for them, but even in terms of their economy and where they're at currently, like you can tell there's been a pretty dominant CT side so far. Up on Jamie. Same cannot be said for the Furia side. Art has an AK, Mac 10 on csgo. So very much we can kind of even see the game plan here right off the bat. Furia has no map control, so probably just waiting for the initial smokes to fade here from BP side, and we're going to be doing a quick execute over to the B bomb side. Very much what we saw VP do on their side.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, right? Like just grouping 5 monster out of spawn and playing patient enough that you respect the utility, but, well, you're not going to get much respect once you're in. Kick it with a kill, and he swings off of the barrels to double down, trading Sanji for 3, and Furia have pulled the brakes. They've bailed from the bomb site. Luckily, they
look at the timing. They had double molly.
Guns.
They had double molly. Furia was forced to back up, so only 2 of their members actually came past monster. That's why like the other 3 just backed up. That's a fantastic hold from VP. Very nicely done with utility there.
The only good thing is the 3 players who don't commit are the 3 rifles. So now they still have their, well,
two out of 3 ain't bad,
yeah.
Right? So let's see what they're able to do with it. One out of 3 is something. You know, maybe Yuri. That's what I've been saying. 1 out of 3. That's all you need. That's enough. Let's see what Yuri can. Oh well. 0-3 in that one, so it's actually 9 on the board for virtus.pro there as they get that round logged in nice and cleanly. They never let it get out of hand, you know. They lose 1 man down towards the B site. Then they throw that double Molotov into Monster. That's so influential, you know, it denies the push. And on top of that, you know, if Furia had waited that out, I feel like, you know, if you'd coupled that rush through Monster a tiny bit later with maybe a Molotov onto the barrels, that could have been a devastating B hit. But the fact they're trying to play it fast, they're trying to play it aggressive and get through the utility leads to that Molotov, you know, down in Monster being really effective because it just separates the push into two different groups almost, right? The 3 that end up having to go to A, and then the other 2 are just fed to the wolves inside of that B site.
Ooh,
yeah, I think that's why you also saw from BP side when they did that execute, like their timing was a little bit better with the molly and the flash at the same time. So yeah. Furia never actually got that break that BP did there. But yeah, very good round. 4-on-3 situation on this one though. It's another half buy from Furia. Did kill Sanji on the A long, but still in a very difficult position to be in. We do have a smoke and a flash on Yuri though, but jaCkz is pushing this A short area. Gets the first on Yuri, spots bomb as well at the same time. Looking to be another. Oh, that was a 4-3 kind of scare there for a second.
Almost.
Have you? I don't know if you guys have seen that. I think not everyone, but obviously more and more people I think are moving over to 69 max res.
Yeah, not gonna change anything for me, I don't think.
Yeah, well, you know, old school boomers and stuff like that.
Are you a 4-3 gamer?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm fucking old, right? Like, I'm obviously never changing that.
I mean, you still play on the CRT monitor, no?
No, absolutely. Like, I can barely see without it, right? Like, I need them all to be as big as possible.
Of course.
None of the fancy stuff. Graphics, what's that, you know?
Absolutely.
Jamie getting a bit refreshed.
Well,
he's
what else?
Thirsty.
Yeah, he's not doing much else, really. It's got like 5
Damn! All right. Ooh, all right. Ooh.
Hey, they're still in a great spot, and like you throw that in, right?
You guys just going in, man. Like poor Jane, bro. Like guys just delivered on Inferno, and then she was like, "Well, you know, no kills here on Overpass, so may as well have a Coke," you know. Like
the guy's nuts. Yeah. He doesn't need my affirmation.
Oh, now you're sucking up to him. I see. Yeah. I see how it is.
7 kills, 15 deaths. The numbers speak for themselves. But 11 to 10, also very good spot for VP, right? Flawless half so far. Furia going back to B, the desperate play. The VP tried again, but really to not much success. VP or Furia interested, right? It's not a full commitment, but they are going to try and take the water after the mollies fade. Vinny coming conside as well. The door has been naded off. Buster's even pushing in, trying to take some space. Art surely going to be able to clear this angle, and untradeable for Buster. He needs to get away with something. James is mollying Con again. He's got his AWP in position, and with the door blown off, he can actually watch the water. He can be very, very impactful from this top composition. Buster with a kill. He needs to escape. That would be great, but instead he hangs around and gets traded. James is trapped, and a missed shot. Oh no, it's getting dicey, but James follows up, and he's saved by jaCkz as well. Oh, it looked like a double.
Everyone's there, man. Quite. Yeah, everyone's helping out. Yeah, Jamie missing the first shot. You'd think that he's going to be dead, but it's a nice little setup there. They're still very aggressive though, so Sanji goes down. And this, I was going to say, out of everything, this is actually the best case for Furia. We have 2 members that's low on VP side, but obviously with Honda being taken down there, it's a 2-on-2 situation.
Stick it. Yeah. It's up to RNG, it's up to smoke spam. Oh, he had it! He had it! That was absolutely a 1 round for VP, but he gets off the bomb with seconds to spare, and now the smoke's faded. Kisarato almost cleans it up, and jaCkz, it's not a problem. If he loses the round after getting off, that's going to hurt, but he redeems himself. He wins it out. 3 kills and the defuse.
He's had an absolute banger of a map as well, jaCkz. He's been so active on this A-bomb side. He's, you know, pushing like mid-round games or mid-rounders as well, having a chance to clutch out that round as well for them. Fantastic performance.
Yeah.
So who needs Jamie when jaCkz is showing up, you know?
Man, James ran. Did you see his death? He ran through A with his knife out when Honda was on the site. He was trying to get toilets or long or something. He just got caught completely out of position. So, it's yeah, jaCkz really, whatever you're paying him, double it.
Whatever you're feeding him, feed him some more.
My man's chowing down on some Brazilian barbecue right now.
This is definitely, I don't know, like, I think Overpass is also like one of those problem maps with the double molly up in mid from CT all the time when you have the economy. So like you kind of see teams more so forced in the underpass or even towards B because you can at least get some map control.
Oh, double boost.
Yeah.
I was going for it.
Such a bad spot to be in. Yeah, I mean, for Furia, you really need to start winning some A here because you see VP again and again, just 3 to 4 towards B, and then, you know, the double boost back. They don't even care about mid at all.
Wait, who dropped the smoke? The smoke got in the way of the boost. Is that Furia doing that on purpose?
There is, I think maybe, so normally on the CT, if you want to push in that area, you drop a molly where you normally boost. And on the T answer, you might drop a smoke on it. But it might also have been the smoke on T side just to block off their area because it's the one place that it's very hard to clear when you're pushing the short on B.
Desperate times for Furia. 3-on-5. Just trying to pop into B. 4 players here for virtus.pro, and I mean, this is a round where you wouldn't even turn your nose up if Furia wanted to save, but they'd rather all have the same money, so may as well give it a go. Starting to get cleaned up though. Sanji and Jane with a kill apiece, and Yuri hides outside the monster. Either die now or run now. You don't want to get caught dying after time. But that's not a problem. What is, however, is this CT side. Flawless so far.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic showing, and it really comes back that I would love to see a timeout here. Even if Furia ends up not winning the round, you know, we kind of need to get VP out of B a little bit, and we need to focus a little bit more on A. Obviously, again, understand that they've had a little bit more problems, but even in a low buy like this, you know, doing an SMG rush, for example, A long, or even taking over mid, you know, trying to kill the Opera, like putting some pressure on them. Just so that they're not forced to play 3 towards B and 1 in underpass, and it's just a near impossibility to hit the bomb site if you're T. But as you mentioned, Yuri obviously ended up saving. He had $200 and he buys a flashbang. So with that, it's going to be another half buy, or like trying to buy a little bit around the AK. See what Furia has in store for us. This could be one of the rounds, for example, I was talking about. Like, heck, let's just run 3 or 4 underpass. One guy flashes from mid, and let's just take over mid fast. See what happens. We know VP has been up in mid, sniffing, you know, sniffing around every round. You know, sniffing for some kills.
That sniff was really, really detailed.
Yeah, I have a big nose, you know. There's a lot of suction going in there.
A lot of suction.
There's a lot of sniffing taking place.
Look at this, right? So they are going to attempt the mid play, but it's not down through the underpass like you were hoping. They just take it directly, and it would just so happen to be that this is the round where VP decide to go, you know, kind of a bit more lax on the mid control. They do have jaCkz here as that kind of forward spearhead to deal with ARP. And now that man advantage taken, well, look at the response. They see that a man's got aggressive long, so they rush up through the toilets to try and get into this A site. But you got to get past jaCkz first, and that is easier said than done. He's onto a third, and he's just not giving up an inch of ground. He's actually regained territory for VP.
He had to reload.
He cancelled the reload. That's such a shame. That was about to be jaCkz's moment, you know, but he still gets 3. He's still basically the savior of this round. As just csgo left, not an easy spot to be in at all. They know he's here. And there it is, he gets cancelled out. VP building upon this lead. And the scariest part is the money is so good for virtus.pro right now because of how they've been streaking all these rounds together. But on top of that, they've had a lot of clean rounds in amongst this, right? It's very, very hard to build up CT money in the current state of the game. And I think, you know, you can always tell that a team is having a really good CT half when the bank accounts are looking like this. Because T-side, man, it's always easy to feel like you have money to buy when you're playing T-side. Not the same when you're in their position, though.
I wonder if Furia just hasn't had enough time to practice with this map, because that execute you saw there, sure, it was nicely run by Kindar, but the timing is just not there from Furia. They have two guys that are pushing into the bomb, so they have one guy all the way back in, you know, mid, and they have one guy in bathroom. Like, there's nothing that's synced about it. This is a very quick round, though. It turns it into a 4-on-3. This is a change of pace that I wanted to see from Furia. Nicely done. They did do the connector play here as well, like putting some pressure on VP. And now they can just hold 4-on-3 situation. There's still 4 smokes in the hands of Furia. No flashbangs though, so that could pose a problem. We just have to be very careful here. Make sure the trading game is on point.
Yeah, this is where jaCkz could, or should, really come alive, right? Like, he's been fine in getting on the board in these last couple of rounds with 1 kill per round or so, but yeah, this is where we need a hero, and he could be that player with the AWP on the A site. 2 on top. Buster towards the toilets. He's re-aggroed. Might not be ready for this position, but you can see Honda's just holding on patiently. And I like the slowdown for Furia as well. They're hoping VP doubt themselves and rotate lower. jaCkz is caught. Buster moves into the pixel angle, and it's Furia with another couple of openers. Kicker's rotate is pretty quick, but in a 1-on-4, he's got to do everything and more, and he can't stop the bomb. Oh, he can. The cover's not there, but csgo can trade. Furia finds
that was close. The timing, right?
Yeah.
Had he survived there, that could have actually been a round win.
Yeah,
I think it was 3 seconds left.
Swung a second early. csgo definitely should have had that cover, but trade will do.
And as we pointed out, that's the first start at least for Furia here if they were to win this map. VP still a lot of money. The only one that's getting to a point where they're broke is Sanji, but there's still one more buy from VP after this. So essentially 3 weapon rounds back-to-back Furia needs to win. That's the first one.
Yeah, and obviously the beautiful thing about Sanji is he'll gladly play SMG as well. Like, we know that about him. So him having less money isn't the end of the world for VP. jaCkz over here in the toilets. He hears all these footsteps around. Now, he has been the standout player. Like, he has been the difference maker.
No.
Oh, my God. How's he managed to get away with it? Oh, my, what is happening? He's somehow doubled up. And the dink onto Yuri earlier on. I don't know how he, like, getting away with anything there seemed like it was going to be impossible considering the timing he hit.
He looked the wrong way.
Yeah.
They checked the long toilets, and it's what's cost them. And I don't even blame them, right? Think about how many rounds jaCkz has been re-aggroing long, 20-30 seconds into the round and pushing through the toilets or coming out into fountain. So yeah, you understand why they're checking that side, but both players looking left, no one even considering him, and yeah, that's more than you can ever ask for in that position. VP, this could be a saving grace, right? If they, you know, well, I use the term reset round only because of the old economy. It's not as devastating as it used to be, but if they find this reset round and they break Furia after they win their first of the half, oh, this could be tied up for VP to take it away. Furia are committing into a 2-man hold, and there's already a con flank in progress.
Yeah, a bomb plant here would make all the difference for Furia, right? Because suddenly they still have money. Suddenly it's not like all said and done where you're kind of like cobbling together. Few players won't have rifles, etc. So they want the bomb plant at least, and it really does matter a hell of a lot to them at this scoreline, but it just keeps getting dropped. It just keeps eluding them. This A-site hold is good for VP. They're on to 14. And then for VP, like on the flip side, we're talking about how for Furia, now their money is going to be in an awkward spot. For VP, it's another one of these rounds where they manage to get out of it, keeping the majority of players alive. And that's what's been so impressive here, right? They keep setting themselves up to be able to withstand the occasional loss and keep reinvesting.
Is this it? Is this the 2-0 for VP? Furia certainly hope not, as they look very interested in a faster B approach. Now, it's been a while since they've gone for a quick one. Will VP be ready? There's 4 CTs here, but they're so blind. Furia, if they committed, that could have been entries, as VP didn't know where to look but the wall. Instead, they've wrapped around the short side, and VP is set up for this. You've got players towards Graffiti, laying down the fire at a range, kick it from the barrels, putting in the pace as well. csgo alone, and that is it. VP, 15 rounds almost guaranteed, and jaCkz makes it so. Another 3K from this guy. What a beast. 34 kills, and we're not even done.
147 ADR.
That's incredible, man. Yeah, that is nuts. And it really has felt like him being like if he is where Furia are heading, then it's just been a disaster. And he's so often put himself in the right place at the right time. You know, he's been over here in the toilets every round they've tried to take mid, and then that round there, he reads it, or you know, someone reads into it for VP that yeah, maybe they go back to the B play here, maybe they try something a little bit faster. He's there, he's ready, he locks in another victory. Really impressive what we're seeing from jaCkz. And it just goes to show, right? Like, you know, jaCkz can have a quiet game. You have players who can fill that void and pick up the slack, and we've known this about jaCkz for a while, but it is great to get that confirmation and just see it happening live in the server. VP, they're about to do it to them. They're about to have this reverse sweep from an 11-4 half to what could be a 16-12 victory. That would be unreal. Buster desperately trying to hold on to the connector.
At a certain point you want to just call this, right? Just hide, just hope he commits your way. Damage done, and he finishes the job. It's all on one man and one man alone. That's Honda. Looking to zoom to that finish line, but not in second place. Looking down Con now. Buster's climbed up the railing. Oh, this is a hard angle to deal with, but he aggresses, and that is not favorable for Buster.
Oh, have they got the bomb? I think they've got the bomb at T-ramp on this flank. Look at James. Yeah, he's sat on it. Not James, rather. Kicker. Oh no, Honda doesn't know. Poor guy, he's going to go up the ladder. Zoom, and there it is. Kicker locking in the victory for virtus.pro. They take this series 2-0, and in an incredible